Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A Cup of Coffee with TESOL Experts. Today, I'm with Gonzalo Díaz in Argentina. Hi, Gonzalo.
Hi, everyone. I hope you're all fine. Great to have you here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you. Gonzalo is a participant in our DOTP program. He's about to finish. DOTP stands for Developing an Online
Right.
Teaching Program. He's developing a course for teachers and teacher trainers. So that's wonderful about becoming a more reflective practitioner. Gonzalo, he graduated as a teacher of English as a foreign language from Universidad Nacional de Tucumán, and he has worked in public schools in different settings. He's worked at a teacher training college. He also developed his own private language studio, and the name is Hands On English Studio. He's been involved in different global projects, and his motto is teachers never stop learning, and I love that because I agree, like that's also my motto, Gonzalo. He has participated in many different professional development opportunities. Some of them are sponsored by the US Department of State. Among those, he was chosen for the ACE program from Oregon University, specializing in language assessment, and our program for TESOL, right, the certificate program, which you got it through the U.S. Embassy in Argentina. So welcome,
Right.
Gonzalo.
Well, I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad it's a great opportunity to share. It's a great opportunity for all of us to reflect and to, well, as I said, it's a cup of coffee with people, with teachers, in this case with educators, and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy this opportunity.
Well, thank you, Gonzalo. So today's question that we're going to be discussing is how can we keep a healthy work-life balance in virtual environments? We feel that this is a very important question and very needed right now. So we have a guest expert. She is, like a wonderful teacher trainer. She works for TESOL and she's lived in Mexico, South Korea, South Africa. Can you please tell us a little bit more about Dr. Qiana Gray, Gonzalo?
Yeah. Well, first of all, she's my tutor. She's my instructor in the development online teaching program. So I'm really happy to be able to introduce her to all of us. Well, she graduated with her doctorate and with focus on reading and literacy in 2017. She's been doing lots of things around the world. As you said, she's lived everywhere almost. And well, she's been doing great things such as the new big thing regarding new approaches to education and ELT. She has her master in educational technology and media design, which is quite interesting for us as educators to consider those fields of knowledge. Well, she's been living in different countries, as Diego said, in Mexico, South Korea, and other countries, and she's been teaching from preschool to university level students, even business English. Well, lately she's been the tutor or instructor in our developing online teaching program, which I'm very proud of being part of.
And
Oh, let's welcome
she
Dr.
wants to
Qiana
share a lot
Gray.
of things with us.
Hello, Dr. Qiana Gray. How are you today?
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
Well, yeah, we're happy to have you, and thank you for being willing to talk about this topic and this question that we have today, because I feel it's super important. Sometimes it is hard to, we struggle saying, hey, you know what, I'm having a hard time with this. I don't know how to manage my work, on live, and things are getting messed up. And so, it's such an important topic, and I would love to hear your experience and maybe some symptoms that you have identified as, when do you know you're burnt out, very much.
Yeah, it's sometimes very hard to tell. Like you said, we've been forced into a new space, and it's not just me, it's everybody, or it's not just me and my friends, it's literally everybody around the world. So being forced into this space, sometimes we think, okay, I'll be at home, I'll have more time, or I'll be at home, I'll be happier because I don't have to commute and drive distances to get to work. But the reality is that for many of us, being in this new space, we've become overactive, trying to make sure that we stay productive. And in doing that, we can cause unbalanced situation when it comes to work and life, even though we're at home. And some things that can help us realize that we are burned out, even within this new situation that we all find ourselves in, is that we find ourselves more stressed out, that we find ourselves having issues with anxiety because we thought we had more time, but we don't, or we've been forced into a situation where the money that was coming in is not coming in the way it used to. And I know with me, COVID literally stopped all of my work. So I had like one more paycheck, and then I had to quickly try and find something else virtually that I would be able to do during this entire situation. So, of course, that's going to add stress, that's going to add anxiety. And you may be trying to find so many different outlets that you bring in too many. And you don't realize it until one day you just don't want to get up out of bed. Or you realize you don't have any free time. You're at home, but you don't have any time like you thought you would being at home. And what starts to happen is because you're stressed out, because you're dealing with anxiety, your productivity starts to drop because you've added too many things to your plate. Your productivity and your work starts to fall down instead of going up. And then what may start happening is you'll say, I'll do it tomorrow. So you start putting off because you're trying to find the balance between free time and work time. So what starts to happen is you start to bring your free time up and start saying, I'll do my work tomorrow or the next day. And then again, that can bring in more stress and anxiety. And then what can start happening is you start not liking your job anymore. So then there's dissatisfaction in your job because there's no satisfaction and a healthy balance between work and free time. And that can bring in depression. And depression looks different on everybody. A lot of people can show signs of depression by overeating or over drinking, doing things in excess that you think will make you feel better, but instead it makes you feel worse. So that can come from the stress, the anxiety, and not finding a balance. Even though we are at home, we still have a lot of responsibilities.
Absolutely, I agree, and I think what you're saying, it is very important for us as English teachers, but also we have to think about our students because they may be experiencing the same things. And something I'm going to say here, I'm going to insert an article that I read, and is called "The Difference Between Emergency Remote Teaching and Online Learning" by Educause. And this is important to keep that in mind because we, like this is an emergency. We're still, in the middle of a pandemic, like you said, Qiana, like we never really thought it was going to last this long. And we'll see, and so we have to learn how to deal with all of these things. And I myself, I started experiencing the anxiety at the beginning because I just didn't know. I was working all the time. I didn't know if it was day or night. It was just crazy. And at some point, I had to stop and slow down and reorganize, I guess, the way I was doing things. And so we have 4 tips or suggestions, concrete, specific suggestions, so that way you can keep a better balance. And some of these things, like I said, may apply to your students as well. So the first one is remember that you're working from home, but you're still working, but enjoy the flexibility. And so can you please expand on that, Qiana?
Yeah, so the number one thing is that, like you were saying, that you found yourself working a lot because we didn't realize that this situation was going to last as long as it has. So what's good to remember is instead of saying, okay, I have to get up and go to work at 7 a.m., actually, you don't because you're at home. So instead, you can get up at 9 a.m. and start working. So there's a level of flexibility not only in when you start work, but also when you take breaks. So if you have children and you want to go play with your children for about 15 minutes, you have the now flexibility to do that without just running yourself dry and just sitting at your computer and working continuously with no breaks and no flexibility and bringing in enjoyment to your day.
And I love that, and something that I have to remind myself all the time is that you're still working, like it doesn't feel like
Right.
work, but you are working. And so
Right.
I like to keep like a routine, like, like I dress up, things like that. And that helps me kind of like know that I'm at work from this time to this time. And then I'm off, meaning I don't do
Exactly.
emails, I don't do anything else. So I am very much routine oriented.
Yes.
Okay. Number two is rely on your colleagues or your network. And so Gonzalo, he'll share with us his experience in Argentina.
Well, what I would like to share is that here we, thanks to different foundations, because, well, we all jumped into the online learning or this emergency situation, and nobody gave us any sort of guide or any sort of tips or anything. We just started to we dived in and we started to swim there and swim in uncertainty mainly. So what was good during that time is that we had a chance to lean on other teachers and to work with other teachers. So probably I teach English, but I can work with the Spanish language teacher or with the history teacher or with some other teachers at school and work together with projects, for instance. So we could do this we could not work alone only, but also I had a chance, for instance, here in Latin America, we had, thanks to a foundation that is called the Varki Foundation, we had a chance to work in what was called Athene Community, Comunidad Atenea. That was a great opportunity for like 17,000 teachers from Latin America to meet every week and learn different tools and to ask ourselves questions such as how can I improve the experience in my classroom? And I also had a chance to meet Matt Mary from the United States, a teacher who works with curiosity-based learning. And he always fostered these what if questions, such as what if school could be the best experience ever? So thinking about that, we could work with other teachers, change our mindset even because it was like, okay, we are all kind of, as Qiana said, we are at home. Sometimes we may feel depressed, but we need to have this growth mindset and bring that into the classroom or the online classroom because we need to have this hope that things will be different in the near future, but we are also building the new education, and we cannot do that alone. I believe that it's not only asking ourselves where we are going, but also who are we walking with. So we need to consider those aspects. Probably I heard that probably the best professional development session could be the teacher next door. So we could talk to other teachers, even if they are not in the same subject, even if they are not ELT teachers, so we can talk to them and start to think education a different way and somehow take the burden off our shoulders because like everything is on us. So we need to share that. We need to share the experience, and we also need students to take a different role, to take up a different role. So I believe that teachers working together is one of the greatest things the greatest assets we can get from this pandemic context.
Well, that's great, Gonzalo. So you're not alone. Keep a growth mindset, and rely on the teachers that are around you. Like you said, like the best teacher could be just next to you, and you don't know about it because teaching can be isolating, especially right now. Like everybody's in their own doing their own things.
Yeah.
And you talk about students as well, and that is actually number three. Number three, our suggestion or tip number three is rely on your students and try to involve them. So, what do you think, Kian, about that one?
I think this is a very important tip because we need to remember that our students are in the exact same situation that we are in. And sometimes teachers, we're adults, so we forget, and we want our students to follow our direction. And the best way to help our students and to help them follow our direction is to include them in this space and to network not only with teachers, like Gonzalo said excellently, but also networking with our students. So having FaceTime contact with our students, using our students, maybe having one student helper a week or one student helper a day, where they help you grade papers, they help create ideas of how to present a subject. We use our students to keep them engaged and also to help them not have burnout, because they can have burnout too. A lot of homework, it's not balanced, they're at home, they can't be with their friends. So they're going through the exact same situation as us, and including them in the process of learning will assist with not only balancing your work in life, but also balancing theirs.
So they can help us reduce our workload, which is good for us, but also is good for their own learning, things like peer assessment, like peer feedback, and maybe some technology tools that can help us make grading, faster the way. Like one, that's number four actually. Number four is use technology wisely. And so I know
Yes.
Gonzalo has a few suggestions. I have some other suggestions. And so go ahead, Gonzalo.
Well, one of the things that I loved using during this time has been Flipgrid. Flipgrid as a tool of social learning, so we could stay in touch even with this sort of grid of videos that you can create. But also, well, there are lots of things since students can take selfies, they can, I don't know, add up stickers and different kinds of aspects that they will show their inner self, or they can show how they feel about something. And that was great. We then worked with a time capsule on Flipgrid and on Padlet too. And those two tools helped me a lot. Flipgrid, even they were great for oral assessment, which is kind of hard when we have this online context. And Padlet was a great way for students to post their work and even got peer feedback there. And then there was this other aspect that had to do with that Qiana also mentioned, but it's also that sometimes we need to somehow we need to disconnect from technology from time to time. And in that case, I would like to share the app that I used was Forest, which is an app that helps you to somehow block your cell phone for stretch of time. You decide if it's for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, so you can take a break and do something else and enjoy, I don't know, time with your family, or I don't know, doing something in the garden, which is something that I love. And you get a treat every time you accomplish that time without or away from the cell phone. And that helped me a lot. I got that from a TED talk that I watched at some moment. I got the idea, I said, okay, good, I'm going to use it. So, and also, well, it brings me the idea of using, I don't know, green, some sort of ecological thought on that. Okay, so you are somehow growing trees, and that's great. So you can, by the end of the day, you can do that yourself in your garden, I don't know, your plants or whatever. So it's like we also need that. So it's using technology wisely. We need to know when to disconnect too.
Yeah, that is very true, Gonzalo. So I didn't know about this app. It's called Forest. And like you can just, it's cool to share. This is why we're making these videos, to share what we know. And so there are two kinds of this number four, which is use technology wisely. You could use technology wisely for teaching purposes. And you mentioned, for example, like Padlet and Flipgrid that makes maybe assessment easier. Another one that we recommended is live worksheets, where students can submit a worksheet and it's self-corrected. So those are tools that can help you make teaching a little bit easier, but there are also productivity tools and other tools, like you said, Forest. If you have a Google Chrome, for example, there is this one that is called Stay Focused. And so you can set limits to, like I'm not going to use Facebook today, or I'm going to use it for like an hour, 2 hours. And that will help you, like the name says, stay focused. This is something we can also recommend to our students. I like to use things like Loom to make videos. So I have my video and I can give feedback to students, and that saves me time, because at the beginning I used to write a reply or a comment to every single student in my class, and that was just very time consuming. And so now I'm doing videos because it's faster for me. And the last one I wanted to recommend is called Calendly. Calendly. So I say, for example, I am available on these days at these times, and then my students can sign up for an appointment, and it is a way to manage your schedule and make it a little bit easier. That way you don't have to email back and forth. Nice. So that's it. Use technology wisely. So I don't know if Qiana or you, Gonzalo, if you have any closing thoughts, anything you want to share with our audience before we finish this video.
I think my biggest thing is to pay attention to what your body is saying. If you're tired, take a break. If you feel burnt out, turn off everything. Like there have been days where I've turned off my phone, I closed my computer, and I just did something that helped me feel better about this whole situation that we find ourselves in. So while COVID has not only brought negative, it has brought a lot of positive, and it's finding the balance between the two. So yes, I can't go perhaps to school and have face-to-face contact, but I can still engage and network with my fellow teachers, and I can still engage and network with my students as well to help me balance my life. It's very important. Pay attention to your body.
I agree. Thank you, Qiana. Gonzalo, any closing thoughts? Any words of wisdom?
Okay. Well, I would like to share that one of the things that helped me a lot was, well, I have a small garden and a small backyard at home, but all the same, I wanted to work with plants and to help them grow and to look at them and see how nature does its work. Okay. And that helped me a lot, because to be patient and to be patient with myself too, because as you said, anxiety grows everywhere. So we need to keep ourselves sometimes within limits, and well, nature helped me a lot.
That is very true. I guess not everything is bad or negative. This whole online learning or remote teaching or whatever you want to call it, like emergency remote teaching, has also good things. So thank you so much. It was a pleasure to talk to you today, Gonzalo and Qiana.
Thank you.
I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much. Bye,
Bye-bye, everyone who's watching.